Like the video and subscribe to our channel right now and get 1 week of amazing luck. The answer to the question, do you think you know what's in the jungle? Is no, since the jungles are simply too big and overgrown for us to truly understand all of the fantastic and strange things concealed within them. However, recent discoveries in the forest have been made as a result of new technology and some very courageous explorers. Here are the 12 creepiest things found in the woods. Number 12. Lady in Wood Mountains. This is the initial reaction of a YouTuber named Joey Mac 420 after experiencing a mysterious encounter while motorbiking in the mountains of California. He and his friend are out on a long bike trail with no one visible for miles and no reason for anyone to be out there with them. Everything is going fine until at one point the trail dips along the base of a mountain and runs parallel to a creepy section of woods. Joey comes around a corner and is surprised to see this person approaching him, someone who he's never seen before and yet who looks strangely familiar. He's so freaked out by the sight of someone all the way out here. She walks by, but something is really off about the way she looks at him. He can't tell what it is, but it scares him badly. A close-up shows some reasons why. She's walking straight ahead and doesn't turn to notice him at all. No wave of acknowledgement or anything. Finally, she seems to be holding something. When his friend drives by a short while later, he says she behaved differently and ran straight at him. I think she appears to not be in the right mental state since she was all by herself in the mountains walking a long distance without any shoes. Number 11. Sacrificial Altar. Numerous historical artifacts from the ancient civilizations that previously inhabited South and Central America are hidden in the jungles and forests of those countries, and new archaeological finds are still being made there. But also by pure coincidence. While these are sometimes brand new statues, buildings, or ornaments, occasionally people come across things that have a far more ominous significance. For instance, a stone tablet that appeared to have been there for a very long time, so long that tree roots had entirely grown around it, was discovered in 2018 near the Guatemalan-Mexican border. It took nearly a year for researchers to carefully remove it from the tree, and only then did they realize how crucial it was to find it. This was a 1500-year-old Mayan altar featuring carvings of the previously unidentified king Chatuc Ichak and a double-headed serpent. Even though it was spotless after it was taken out, this would have been an altar used for making human sacrifices, and it's highly probable that hundreds of people would have died on top of this unassuming-looking chunk of stone. Unquestionably a unique find, it served as a reminder of how ominous some of the rites carried out on the continent actually were by modern standards. Number 10. Jungle Whale. Although there are many weird and occasionally even unnamed animals in rainforests, a whale is the last thing you would expect to see there. Therefore, how on earth did a humpback whale get into a jungle? A dead humpback whale was discovered in the jungle in early 2019. It was found in the Amazon rainforest precisely on the island of Marijuana. It appeared as though the whale had been teleported from the ocean into the jungle because there were no trails, showing plainly that no one had just brought it here. There are some suggestions as to how this occurred, but scientists are still unsure. Although it sounds absurd, some people think that this whale could have been lifted up by a huge wave and tossed from the water into the jungle. The island is thousands of miles from the nearest body of water where humpback whales are typically located, which poses a serious problem for this argument because humpback whales don't swim anywhere near the coast. The whale was only discovered by scientists after they noticed numerous raptors circling the area where the whale and other jungle animals had been eating. But one of the biggest puzzles I've ever seen is still how the whale got here. Since it is very impossible to reach the location where the whale was discovered using a car, it is obvious that the whale was not left there as some kind of prank. That's pretty unsettling if the gigantic wave theory is true. Number 9. Holocaust artifacts. More than 1,000 concentration camps were established during the horrors carried out by the Nazis in the 1930s and 1940s, and the survivors from each one narrated tales of how horrifying the conditions there were in reality. so that the atrocities would never be forgotten and the places where they occurred as well as the areas around them would never be the same again. Many were turned into museums. One of these camps, known as, was the first to be constructed outside of Germany and was located in the northern Polish countryside close to the contemporary town of Stutowo. More than 85,000 people are thought to have died there during the war, which saw the camp house more than 100,000 people. Recently, hikers exploring the forests far from the camp found a disturbing discovery. Numerous shoes, prison uniforms, belts, and other items were scattered around the mud, some of which were stacked knee-high. It's difficult to believe that they were left unnoticed for so long, and it is practically probable that they belonged to the camp's inmates. It will never be known how they got there or what happened to their owners, but it serves as another warning about how awful people can be if horrible ideologies and practices are allowed to prevail. Number 8. The Devil's Tramping Ground. A camping location in the woodland at Harper's Crossroads in Bear Creek, North Carolina, has grown into a legendary location. Locals have long recognized the area as the Devil's Tramping Ground since it is a strange location where nothing grows. The 40-foot wide circle in the ground, which has been deserted for more than a century, is allegedly where the devil spends his nights contemplating how to bring evil to the globe. Other than the fact that nothing grows there, items left in the ring overnight frequently vanish by morning, and animals like dogs frequently avoid going near it. One of the spookiest forest clearings in the entire United States, those insane enough to spend the night camping there will come back with tales of weird noises and terrifying encounters that were so upsetting they refused to stay any longer. Despite this, many people visit the area to verify the legends for themselves. However, if any of the claims were to be real, would you have the courage to stay? I would not. Number 7. Missing posters. Numerous people go for walks in their local woods on a regular basis, not only for exercise but also because you never know what you'll see next as the seasons change. Because of this, James Rankin, a resident of Long Island, enjoys going on treks close to his house. However, something that occurred in October 2016 changed all of that. He approached a clearing at Berkeley-Jackson County Park near Huntington, New York, and gasped in awe at what he saw. More than a dozen missing posters, all of which were taken from actual cases in the New York region and had just been printed and sealed in plastic, were fastened to the surrounding trees. Although there were some men among them, they were mostly composed of women. To make matters worse, there was what appeared to be a shrine in the center of the clearing, which was made up of a number of perfectly positioned twigs. He reported what he had seen to the local police department, concerned that he might have discovered the hiding place of a serial killer or possibly something much worse. It wasn't until then that he learned what was going on. Posters had been put up and the area had been cleared in anticipation of an upcoming Halloween party. And everything was pulled down and gone in a matter of weeks. Despite knowing the truth, Rankin has found it difficult to continue walking as adventurously since then. Whenever he does, he is always a little nervous about what he will find around the next corner. Number 6. Humanoid Creature. We want to believe that we are very intelligent and knowledgeable about the world, but in reality, we are incredibly stupid. Even a basic estimate of the number of species that exist on Earth is unknown. There were 456 new animal species discovered in 2021, and experts estimate that there are more than 5 million species still undiscovered. So perhaps that clarifies this video. Although it might not seem genuine, this little, strange creature is real. Erwin Saunders, a guy, captured the monster on camera. While Erwin was discussing Owen's experience in the bush, he noticed a strange creature behind him and quickly grabbed his camera to photograph it. The tiny humanoid thing appears to be glancing around. Perhaps Erwin's presence has shocked it. Some people claimed that this appeared to be a certain type of monkey. However, specialists have analyzed the video and have not been able to determine what this species is. It may be a monkey species that has not yet been discovered, or it may be something else different. What do you believe this odd humanoid creature might be, since I've never seen anything like it before and it appears that few specialists have either? Number 5. Deteriorating Dolls. There is a network of waterways south of central Mexico City that are dotted with tiny islands covered in trees. One of these islands in particular is likely the spookiest forested location you will ever visit. The 1950s saw the first dolls start to appear all around the island, giving rise to the nickname, Island of the Dolls, which has continued to grow ever since. Local lore claims that the man who once owned the property started scattering dolls around the houses and trees after seeing a small girl die in one of the rivers and thinking he heard her scream for her doll. Instead, out of fear, he took the doll that was close to her and hung it in a tree, starting the tradition. The island is now covered in hundreds of dolls, some of which have been there for decades and are now coated in cobwebs and insects and in disrepair. This heightens the eerie atmosphere of the location, and to add to the mystery, the man who was originally responsible for them also passed away there, allegedly not far from where he had discovered the young girl all those years before. Since his passing, the island has become a well-liked tourist destination. Thousands of people travel there by boat to view the unusual location for themselves, but almost everyone experiences shivers as the truth of how really unsettling it is dawns on them. Number 4. Human Skeleton. One of the oddest and most tragic tales was disclosed following a grisly find that was made in a forest in the Chitura region of Moscow, Russia. People opt to travel into the woods for a variety of different activities, some of which can seem peculiar to most others. On April 2019, a hiker passing by the village of Cherusty discovered an odd depression on the forest floor that was at the time covered in leaf litter. He noticed what appeared to be human remains when he looked closer, so he went a little further to see if it was real or not. He soon realized that it was a real skeleton and alerted the authorities right once. Ivan Kluterev went missing in 2017, and the case of his disappearance had been ongoing in the area for nearly 2 years before the discovery. Up until this new revelation, no sign of him had been located despite searching the area, but in many respects, it generated more questions than it did answers. A book on knots, 3 more chains, 5 more pairs of handcuffs, and a dead body that was still chained and padlocked to a tree were also discovered. However, authorities at the time also looked into the possibility that this was a bondage activity gone bad or that he had been murdered by a local gang. The official explanation was that the sad victim had been preparing to become an escape artist when things had gone dreadfully wrong. The truth may never be known for sure, but it's probably advisable to let someone know if you ever intend to chain yourself to a far-off tree in the woods in case you end up in need of help. Number 3. An alien. Residents in the San Francisco Bay Area started noticing strange lights in the sky one night in November 2015, and they were moving in what seemed to be inconceivable ways. This naturally sparked a wave of theories that UFOs were passing through the area, and things only got worse when a local also managed to discover something strange in the adjacent woods and posted a picture of it online. Despite doubting that it might potentially be an alien, the woman who found it claimed to have heard it cry and saw it briefly deflate before going lifeless. Experts from all over the world had trouble figuring out what it was. Despite an alternate theory being offered, it turns out that the strange discovery may have been related to the light in the sky rather than an alien attack. The light in the sky was actually a test launch of a Trident nuclear missile system, and in some areas, loud explosions would have accompanied it. It is very possible that what had been reported as an alien in the woods was a deer or cow fetus whose mother had miscarried due to being spooked by the lights and noises. Number 2. Breathing Earth. The world's most biodiverse areas are woodlands, where the abundance of plant life supports a huge variety of animal species. You almost could be excused for thinking that the entire area is alive. There is a rare phenomenon that, if you ever witness it, gives the impression that the forest floor is breathing beneath your feet, so this may not be such a fanciful concept after all. There is a lot of videos showing it in action since it is the kind of thing that must be seen to be believed, but if you ever find this happening in real life, one of the first things you would do is capture it as evidence. The ground plainly raises up and down in a manner that is nearly unfathomable, almost if there is a gigantic monster snoring beneath the mossy wood floor. Naturally, there is an acceptable scientific curiosity as to why this happens, and it is all related to the weather after the initial amusement and creepy sense. It only ever occurs when the wind is blowing hard and in areas with loose enough soil. In ideal circumstances, the wind will bounce the trees back and forth, causing their enormous web of underground roots to move with them. The entire forest floor, including the rocks and trash that were sitting on it, will undulate with enough force to produce this amazing effect. Number 1. Silk hinge. Run away first if you spot one of them in the jungle. A dangerous spider may be nearby. Although many people claim that these somewhat resemble Stonehenge, they are actually built by spiders. Although we are aware that they are formed of spider silk, we do not actually know what species of spiders manufacture them. The fence around the tower is believed to protect it from any other spiders or other insects that may consume the eggs because the tower inside contains spider eggs. The first silk hinge was found in 2013, and numerous others have since been located. However, it remains a mystery as to what species of spiders are responsible for these structures.